Hey everyone, it's Mari Clarke here for another edition of Art Party Friday here on the Crafty Maven Getaway. And I'm bringing you a double page spread in my art journal today. And this is a long journey that we're about to go on here. So it's a pretty long video and I have sped it up 4 times. So bear with me through this narration of some very crazy mixed media in my craft room today. So I just started out by putting down some heavy gesso and I stamped through it just to leave a bit of an impression on the paper. And I just left that dry for a while, and now I'm just kind of trying to stay away from that area while I sketch a face onto the paper. So I'm working in my Large Dilutions art journal here. And the paper in that art journal is a cardstock, a fairly heavy cardstock, and it's pretty nice paper to work with, but it's very important to prime the surface. So I have primed this with some white gesso, just some Liquitex gesso. So I'm just working on top of that surface there. So I'm using, I think I'm using a Faber-Castell Aquarelle, I think, pencil there to sketch that face, and just working on that here, just sketching it out so you can just see that I'm just trying to create the impressions of the different features in the face, and working away on erasing lines as I go, and so on and so forth. And this is just it's kind of a fun process. And I knew that with that inspiration piece, that I wasn't I was going to be a little bit limited as to how I brought that inspiration in if I was going to be working on a face and so on for this layout. But I decided that I was going to bring that inspiration piece into the hair of the girl that I'm sketching here. So you'll see that basically at the end of the video. So I'm going to use my Neo colors to create the skin tone. And I'm pretty sure that I used the flesh and the salmon colors to create the skin tone here as I'm going through. So I'm just using a tiny little bit of water on that brush, and I'm using my finger to blend the colors quite a bit. And because I didn't use a regular pencil for this, you can see that the aquarelle pencil lines are going to dissolve a little bit as I'm working through this process. So yeah, it's just a matter of just blending those colors and working away to create something, just an image that you're happy with, to give the impression of a face. And it doesn't have to be perfect. I am not a perfect face drawer, obviously, and I'm just messing around with the supplies that I have and trying to create the impression of this face here. So yeah, you can just see I'm just, like I said, working away with the Neo colors. And if I'm using other products here, I'll try to remember to mention what I'm using as I go, because I know that as I've learned about different products from other artists on YouTube, I have found that it has been extremely important to me to know what products they're using, so that I can experiment with those products too on my own pages. So I created that V at the top there just so that well, you'll see what I do with her hair, but just so that I could kind of have a starting point there for where her hair is going to go when I'm ready to apply that paint for that. So yeah, this is such an interesting process, working on a face, and there's so many different products that you can use in your craft room to do this, right? So it's kind of like whatever you have. I really do like working with the Neo colors. They remind me quite a bit of gelatos in a lot of ways, because they blend with water and so on. But they're just, yeah, they're a lot of fun to work with. So you can just see that I'm creating the eyes there, the color in the eyes, and I'm going to work away. So I'm not going to add any music to this. I'm just going to keep narrating, and I hope I can keep up the narration as I go through without boring you, because I know that you're mostly interested probably in just watching what's going on the screen. But You know, I always do this, it seems, when I'm working on my art journal, but it's one of the dilemmas is knowing when to stop, right? Knowing what is going to layer on top of what, knowing how the products are going to react with other products and so on. And I just had a lot of fun with this. It was really super time consuming, and if you know, for those of you who've done some art journaling before, you can appreciate that, right? It is a fairly long, drawn out process. You know, you can do something very, very simple, and you know, try not to get too carried away with a different medium that you might use in your craft room. But it's hard. It's hard to stop. It's hard to know when to say when, right? So I'm just trying to blend in the colors just to create some impressions of shadows and so on. Excuse me. And I actually did this process over the course of a couple days, so you'll see me wearing a couple of different tops here as I'm working away here. So we had a really great event at our school. The first day that I started working on this, it was a yellow t-shirt day for a cause, a purpose that we were promoting with our students and working on with our kids. And so that's the significance of the yellow t-shirt. And then the second day that I got working on this layout, I end up wearing a really old white paint shirt that I like to wear when I'm doing mixed media, because I don't really care about what gets splattered on it. So I'm just putting some white Liquitex paint there, some acrylic paint, just to create the whites of the eye there. I want it to be really stark and dramatic in contrast with the rest of the different colors in her face. And yeah, I'm just going to blend in some lighter pink there for her cheek color and create some nice colors there. So just keep that going with those neo colors. So I find that it's just so intriguing watching other people do their mixed media layouts on YouTube, and to me it's just so fascinating to see how these layers can be created. I like to do the face first and then do the layering around it. But you know, I've seen a lot of people do, you know, all the layers and then just put the face on top and have the actual face be different multicolors and do their layering in that way. So that's pretty cool too. I think that's a really neat method and neat technique too. So that one pencil that I was using there to outline her lips, I believe is a Stabilo pencil. I hope I'm pronouncing that properly. I'm just going to use the white on those lips there too to create a little bit of a highlight. So this is actually a fairly lengthy little process here, drawing this face in, and you can imagine why a lot of people add music, right, to their process here, because there's not a lot for me to say while I'm narrating this. But anyways, yeah, so I'm just going to color in the pupils there with that same Stabilo pencil. And just going to keep adding some more details to the eyes. So, yeah, this is just kind of it's an interesting process doing these faces. And like I said, there's no right or wrong way, obviously. You can just kind of go for it and do whatever. So I end up, one of the things that I'm kind of focusing on here is, I want to have some sort of message with my art journal, and I always do that when I'm journaling in my art journal, is try to create a message in some way with the artwork, so that it's not just so that it seems like it's purposeful in some way. And so that's what I end up doing with this double page spread as well. And I try to make the girl look like she's just, you know, quite stressed, and her hair ends up going straight up in the painting. And the idea behind that is that you know, there's so many things in our lives that make us stressed out, and it's it's so easy to let that take over, right? And let it consume every sort of aspect or facet of what you've got going on. And so the message for this layout is just find a way to let it go. And you'll see that is the message as I'm going through here. So yeah, I'm still just working away on that face, and sometimes these faces do take quite a bit of time, and you just have to be patient as you're working on it, and just sort of like feel your way through it, and let it evolve, and just, you know, be happy with imperfection, because, well, I mean, you know, when you look at a lot of really famous, amazing pieces of art, and perhaps they are portraits, and perhaps they are meant to be, you know, an impression of a portrait. They're oftentimes obviously very imperfect. They're not perfect. And so, you know, what I think about when I'm working on a face is I want it to be meaningful to me. I want it to be something that I can connect with when I look at it, and whatever that connection might be. Like, clearly this girl's one eye is larger than the other. But when I look at this, I don't really see that when it's the finished product. I look at it, and I look at it as a whole piece, you know. I look at the, you know, what the overall kind of impression of the entire piece is, rather than, you know, focusing on the fact that, yeah, clearly her right eye is larger than her left. But I'm okay with that. You know, I think it's just, it's part of the beauty and imperfection of art journaling. And you know what, I think that this is probably, and I know I have a lot of favorites, and if you follow me on YouTube, you've heard me say this about lots of different things. I do have a lot of favorites, there's no doubt about it. But I have to say one of my favorites for sure is art journaling in general. And I think the reason why I love it so much is that it just lets you get into your craft room and just go nuts with your products. And it doesn't matter what it is. I mean, it could be, you know, you can use stickers on your art journal. You can use watercolor. You can use, you know, absolutely everything. And I do use a lot of different products on this layout, and you'll see that as we progress through. So I just took some more of those Neo colors, and I just put them down randomly in different places, just creating. I just took sort of like a whole bunch of different colors. I have a set. I started out with a set, I think, of maybe 15 Neo colors, and I've added to that. I've got a bigger set now. I forget how many is in the bigger set that I got, but I love those things. You know, if you don't have them, watch for a good sale. Amazon does have some really good sales. Just watch for them, and you can get a really good deal on these Neo colors, and they are so fun to work with. I really, really love them. And you know, it's nice to get a bigger set, because you know, the variety of the colors is just is awesome. So I went, when I was on vacation this summer, I went to Multicrafts in Ottawa, and they had a garage sale at that time. So you could go into the warehouse if you didn't have a storefront, if you couldn't, you know, weren't there to purchase wholesale, you didn't have those rights kind of thing, you could purchase off out of the garage sale. And oh my goodness, I found some treasures. Like, I mean, some really great stuff. And especially for doing collages and art journaling. So this was some Teresa Collins paper. I don't know from what collection it was. I have no idea. But it was a fall line, and it was all about gratitude. And the text on it is just fantastic. I love it. So I think the sheets of paper were 20 cents a sheet. And they had everything there from, just like every line that you can imagine. There was crepe paper, there was Teresa Collins, there was Ellie's Studio, there was everything. And I had to bring that home on the airplane. I went to the pizza place and got 2 pizza boxes, and they were right jam-packed full. And I was really worried that I was going to be overweight with my suitcase, so I ended up putting them in my carry-on. And yeah, it was pretty hilarious actually. So yeah, typical diehard crafter going shopping, right? So anyways, that's where I got this paper from. So I just used a little flower die cut to cut those out, or I should say it was a punch, a flower punch. So just starting with the stencils here, and I've used some stamps and just trying to build some layers and create some texture and some layers and bases for all of the other things that I'm going to be putting on top, and ensuring that I'm drawing every single layer as I go. Those paper flowers I did put on there using gel medium, and I think I showed you that Dina Wakley matte gel medium that I used to adhere those down, and just sealed them down with some gel medium. Now I've got, oh my goodness, the Dilutions paints. Oh man, those are fantastic. Love, love, love those things. The pigment in them is just amazing. And so I'm just going around my layout, just adding a little bit of that Dilutions paint here and there, and just creating some really pretty colors, which on the right side I end up mostly covering up. Isn't that how it goes though when you're art journaling? It's just one of those things where you just get rolling with it, and it's really hard to stop. So now I'm going to take that Heidi Swap Quatrefoil stencil. I'm just going to add some more Dilutions paint in the teal, and yes, I'm just having fun going crazy with all my stuff. And you can never have too many stencils when you're doing mixed media, right? It's just really just the case. So I'm just taking those spots where I added that stamp onto that heavy gesso at the very beginning of the layout. I'm just going over those spots with some of the Dilutions paint, and I want that texture from that heavy gesso to just pop up off the layout a little bit, and it does. And actually, despite the fact that I add a lot of layers over top, it actually does end up showing up. So I've taken some Stampin' Up! Script stamps, and I've stamped them on there. One says thank you, one says friendship, and one says love. And to me, those are three really, really important words or phrases. And I think that they work in with the idea, the theme of the layout, which is, once again, letting go, finding a way to be grateful, finding a way to be happy, finding a way to, just let go of all the things in life that are stressful for us, and finding ways to do that. So just drawing those layers up. And it's important to use an ink that's going to be waterproof. So I've used the Ranger Archival ink in black anywhere where there's stamping on the layout. This is a Prima stencil. Can't remember which one it is, but I really love it. It's kind of looks like a net, and I like the results using that stencil. It's a nice one. I think probably those Finnabair stencils are my favorite for using mixed media. I mean, I love all the stencils, the Crafters Workshop, all of them. But I think maybe those Finnabair ones I really like the best for using mixed media. They seem to be the most durable. Like, some of the stencils are pretty flimsy when you get working with some of the heavier products, in my opinion, for whatever it's worth. Okay, so now I decide to go crazy with some Liquitex super heavy gesso, and you're probably saying, what? Why are you covering that up? Well, on that side, I'm going to put the message there, and I want to just mute that side a little bit more. Like, it was just feeling a little bit too bright and bold, and I wanted to just mute it down a little bit and leave the left side a little bit more bold and bright, and so that we really, really see that girl's face when we look at it. So now I'm gonna add, so you can see now where that inspiration piece is coming in here. I'm adding her hair, and I wanted that flowy look of the skirt of that dress, and the magenta and the black to be really dominant here, which was the colors that I noticed the most when I looked at that inspiration piece from the very, very beginning of the video. So I'm just trying to add the hair in here, and the idea that I had is that, you know, she's just got this look on her face like, oh my goodness, what is happening right now? And her hair is standing straight up. And the idea is that, you know, she's stressed. She's feeling some stress, this poor girl. And yeah, so that works in with the message of the art journal. So you know what, you don't have to have a message-based art journal. It can be just whatever you want it to be, and just flow with it and go with it. But when I started this specific journal, I wanted it to be a message journal. And so with each of the layouts that I have, that's what I've attempted to do. So thanks so much for going on this journey with me. I know it was a long one, and there were some times when my narration was a little bit boring, but thanks for sticking with me. Join me on my own YouTube channel at Mari Clarke. I'll leave a link below. Thanks so much for joining me today for Art Party Friday. See you next time. Bye.